Ladies and gentlemen, this is J.R. Moore coming to you live from deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks. On Thursday, the 12th day of December, year of our Lord 2019, welcome to the John Moore Show. We begin our shows with something that Nancy Pelosi pretends to do, but really doesn't in her heart believe it. That would be the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Proper tip of the day, I want to encourage you to start taking hikes with your backpack. Start out with 20 pounds. That's a nice bit of weight, not too much, not too little, enough weight to know you got a little something on your back. Make sure it's a good quality backpack that fits you properly, that puts the weight on your hips, not on your shoulders. That's what a good backpack does. It transfers the weight to your hips, not your shoulders. And just do it about 3 times a week. If you have some health issues, underlying health issues, be sure you check with your healthcare professional before you start this activity. We're going to have open lines this first half hour. Tom Berryhill will join us at bottom of the hour. At the top of hour 2, we'll have the John Moore Radio Show economic advisor, Steve Hunt, with us. I just received a very nice, the most recent article from Steve in the mail, China's War, Secrets of How You Can Be a Winner in a Financial War Between the American Eagle and the Chinese Dragon. Very well done article. We'll be talking about that at the top of hour 2. And, of course, we'll have open lines the last half hour. I've dropped Drudge as my home page. I now use whatfinger.com. Whatfinger.com. It's pretty good. There's some pretty good ones out there. I like this one. A lot of interesting articles there, interesting videos, and not filled up with the silliness that Drudge has become. When I first started using Drudge as my homepage, it was pretty straight news reporting, but beginning quite a while ago, maybe 7-8 years ago, it started becoming more and more like the National Enquirer to the point where I couldn't hardly stand it anymore. So I dropped Drudge, and many people are dropping Drudge. Apparently, Drudge has been sold anyway. Not that that matters one way or the other. But whatfinger.com is a good place to get caught up in what's going on, especially geopolitical matters. The culture war. The culture war is pretty bizarre, quite frankly. Pretty bizarre. I never dreamed that public libraries would invite men who think they're women, men who would like to become women, dressed up as women, into their public area, the public library, the reading section, and read books promoting homosexual activity to children. And not only that, but the children's parents are supporting this, which makes it even more bizarre. I was in St. Louis a year and a half caring for my wife, and just less than a mile from where we reside there in Brentwood, Missouri, the Brentwood Public Library hosted one of these events. A black male dressed up as a woman wearing whiteface, reading stories about homosexual activity to these children. That is truly, truly bizarre. And if that happens in your community, well, I don't know. Maybe the people in charge of the library need to be called on the carpet. They all have a source of funding. Maybe I don't know how these things are organized, but there needs to be a challenge to the leadership of these libraries that are making these wrong-minded decisions. Children should not be exposed to this bizarre activity. They really should not, in my opinion. We have the person of the year, a 16-year-old girl who is promoting that climate change is going to kill all of us in 10 or 12 years if we don't immediately stop producing human-caused greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide. I haven't watched this young woman speak. I think the president of Brazil called her a brat. Maybe she may very well be a brat. She probably believes all this stuff. And it's certainly an example of how the mass media will seek out people to promote the agenda of the powers that be. This part of the agenda, of course, is that we need to curtail human activity in order to save the planet. It's a money-making scheme. It's a method of control. It's a method of deceit and deception. It's a lot of things. This whole story that human activity is causing the climate change, that's not happening. The climate is changing. There's no doubt about that. There is some doubt about what's causing it, and it may be part of a long cycle. It may have to do with the radiation, the energy coming from the sun. It may even have something to do with a planetary object, coming through our solar system, our solar system. I think that we need to be aware of this, and we need to plan accordingly. I think that long term, we're looking at probably at least a mini ice age. I frequently reference the book One Day After, starring Dennis Quaid. Get the name of that movie right there. The Day After Tomorrow. That's I think that's the name of the film, The Day After Tomorrow. Anyway, the main premise of the film is that the Gulf Stream stops due to human-caused climate change, which, of course, is a false premise. But the real science in there is that when the Gulf Stream stops, which it did, in fact, June 12, 2010, that changes everything in the Northern Hemisphere. Now, at my website, we have links at thelibertyman.com. We have links to the Navy, U.S. Navy website. The U.S. Navy publishes a new map every 24 hours showing ocean surface temperatures worldwide. And you can see every day that the Gulf Stream comes up the east coast of the United States, gets to about Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, starts going east by northeast towards the British Isles. But it no longer goes all the way across the North Atlantic as it did for at least 35, 36 centuries. No, it goes out a few hundred miles and stops. And you can see that on the Navy map. It's published every 24 hours, a new one. When you want to go to that site, by the way, there'll be a warning pop up that your computer is going to explode into flames if you go to the Navy website. Just ignore that. No harm will come to your computer. I've been told that many government websites have that warning for reasons we don't quite know or understand. The Gulf Stream, we found out from Professor Luigi Zangari, used to regulate the jet stream, past tense. Myself and Dr. Bill Deagle, we interviewed Dr. Zangari twice in July 2010. I think we may have links to those two shows. They were on Genesis Communications. Regardless, there were Friday afternoon interviews, the third Friday and fourth Friday of July 2010. In the first interview, Dr. Zangari said that him and his scientists he worked with, he's a PhD scientist living and working in Italy, by the way, with other PhD scientists in Europe and North America, and nothing but the Gulf Stream, by the way. They thought that the Gulf Stream had stopped June 12th, and they weren't positive. They needed to recheck their calculations. He came back a week later, the fourth Friday of July 2010, and he confirmed that the Gulf Stream had in fact stopped June 12th, 2010. And one of those two interviews, he informed us something that I was not aware of. That was the fact that the Gulf Stream used to, past tense, used to regulate the jet stream. The two things largely responsible for most of our weather in the Northern Hemisphere is the Northern Hemisphere jet stream and energy from the sun. Those are the two most important factors when it comes to weather in the Northern Hemisphere. Well, with the jet stream no longer being regulated is doing wild gyrations, north-south, and from the east to the west. Excuse me, from the west to the east. I got that wrong. From the west to the east. The jet stream bounces up towards the Arctic and then back down towards the equator in a big W, as in the letter W configuration. Those gyrations have become erratic and undependable, completely erratic and completely undependable, giving us the bizarre weather we've had now since 2010. Ultimately, the Gulf Stream stopping leads to probably a mini ice age. Now, in the film The Day After Tomorrow, they go from what we call normal weather to an ice age in just a few months. I believe 3 to 6 months. So a very short period of time, relatively. It obviously has not happened. Here we are, 9.5 years later from the Gulf Stream stopping. We don't have an ice age. However, it seems to be headed in that direction. And people would be well advised to understand that and incorporate that understanding into their preparations. So where are we? Well, we're into unknown territory. That's where we are. We've got the Al Gore paradigm, the Al Gore belief that human activity is causing this. We got that's about half the population. Most of the rest of the population believes it's just a natural cycle that we can't do anything about, which is closer to the truth. If you want evidence, I mention this frequently, but we always have new listeners. If you want evidence that the Al Gore story is false, all you need to do is to print out a copy of the Paris Climate Accords. And you'll see right in there that India and China can make as much CO2 greenhouse gases as they want with no problem whatsoever. Can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. If it's a clear and present danger, we need to stop it. We need to stop it right now. If it's not, then we certainly can allow Russia, China, and India to make all the CO2 gases they want to, can't we? Well, clearly it's not a clear and present danger. Obviously, it's not a clear and present danger. Otherwise, how in the world would the Paris Climate Accords give nearly 3 billion people between China and India, nearly 3 billion people? We wouldn't give them a free pass to make all the CO2 greenhouse gases they want to, would we? But they did. President Trump understands this. That's why he withdrew from the Climate Accords. The Climate Accords are designed to do two things: destroy Western civilization and make lots of money in the meantime. That's what it's designed to do. Reality is something entirely different. The planet is heating up. Alaska is having some of the warmest temperatures ever recorded. It's causing severe issues with their environment up there, to say the least. Permafrost up there has been melting for years, and on and on. I don't know the details. I have a very dear friend that has lived in Alaska most of his adult life, and he knows more details about this than I do, a retired Air Force officer. When things change with the climate, one of the major changes is changes in agriculture. Most of the people live in the northern hemisphere. Most of the food is grown in the northern hemisphere. And grains come up real quick. Grains are what feeds the animals. Grains are what feeds the people. You'll find wheat and things that you never dreamed of, such as tomato soup as a thickener. Lots of wheat. Wheat, corn, rice, soybeans. There's lesser grains, oats, spelt, millet, and so forth. But the big ones are wheat and corn and soybeans. That's the major crops when it comes to just sheer volume in metric tons or bushels, however you want to measure it. Most businesses have a business model that they build their business on, their life on, the business model for men and women growing grains and agriculture in general is I take that back. 4 good harvests for every 1 bad one. That's the business cycle. That they'll get 4 good years for every 1 bad year. And that's how farming families have built their life, built their businesses, have built their lifestyle around that premise. Now, granted, there could be 5 good years in a row, there could be 2 bad years in a row, but decade after decade, that's the cycle that they could depend on. That cycle is gone. That cycle is broken. I get out in speaking engagements around the country, and I'll have men and women involved in growing grains in the audience, and they always confirm what I say about the business cycle and about how they no longer can depend on it. Younger farmers, especially ones that don't have their land paid for, that don't have their equipment paid for, frequently these men will have $500,000 to $1 million worth of equipment. If they have to get a loan to buy seed and fertilizer and herbicides, pesticides, then they're in a very difficult situation when it comes to this cycle being broken. Very difficult. The corporate farm, on the other hand, they got the deep pockets. They can weather these situations, and of course, they'll buy up the failing farms as they become available, which leads to a greater and greater monopoly of who is growing and controlling the food supply. That's probably not a good thing. People, if they can, and I know not everybody can do it, people, if they can, should look into becoming food independent, growing their own food. I have neighbors that do that. Gardening is still a very popular hobby here in the Ozarks. I would say about half the homes have some sort of garden. Here's our break. We'll be right back.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge $20, $30, $40, $50, if possible, $100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
All right, we are back. Then we're back here on Thursday, the 12th of December. We had a couple sign up yesterday for the John Moore Patriot Symposium cruise. A couple that listens to my show, obviously. We still have some cabins left. I was talking to Betsy Murphy, our cruise director, last night. There's still some cabins available. If you want to join us, get away from the ice, the cold, the snow, on a beautiful, romantic Valentine's Day. I'll be right in the middle of it. The John Moore Patriot Symposium cruise, details at my website. You can call my cruise director directly. You need to talk to her anyway to sign up for the cruise. Betsy Murphy, here's her phone number twice, slowly, 636-530-9502. I say again, 636-530-9502. One of the purposes of the Al Gore mantra is to conceal what's really happening, and that's violent climate change. July of 2017, I was awarded the Prague Peace Prize in Prague, Czech Republic for my work in this area. I have interviewed about 20 U.S. Navy veterans, most of them submarine veterans. All of them attended a classified briefing about what would be coming in the future. That would be parts of the United States underwater. The East Coast, the West Coast, the Gulf Coast, and the inland sea, where the Mississippi River is, an inland sea, 100 miles wide, a couple hundred feet deep, stretching up to Chicago, splitting the country in two, by the way. That's what they were told in the classified briefings. They were told this would happen in their lifetimes, not their children's lifetimes, their lifetimes. They were told that when they retired from the Navy, they just might want to consider moving to the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks as one of the known safe havens. I did a nationwide speaking tour on this topic, sponsored by the Prophecy Club a few years back. I was in Detroit. It was a hotel meeting room, standing room only, 3-hour presentation, 2 15-minute breaks. During one of the breaks, a gentleman walked up and introduced himself. He says, "John, I'm in the insurance industry. We've wondered for years, why are there so many retired Navy people in the zip codes of the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks?" He said, "Now we know. Now we know." And that's why it is. Many thousands of Navy veterans, when they retired, like my friend Tim Spencer, for example, the only Navy veteran who's agreed to go public with the information, many thousands have retired to the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks. Not because they like it, not because they want to. Most people retire from the military and want to return to their hometown. The majority of them do. Of course they do. But these men and women, they decided to move to the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks because of what they learned in the classified briefings when they were in the Navy Submarine Corps. That's why they did it. So here's what they do. Typically, the Navy, military retirees between 40 and 45 years old, they pick a place. It may be a place where one of their buddies is already retired to. They buy their 5 or 20 acres of heaven. They move there. They start their life of preparedness. They start a new career. 40, 45 years old is still a very young man. And they live a life of preparedness. They're not worried about a date. They're not seeking a date. They're not concerned about a date. Because every day that they can, they're making headway towards being self-sufficient. The people who are looking for a date are the ones who are not prepared. That's why a date has become so important to them, because they know they're not prepared, and their intent is to live their current lifestyle and not focus on preparedness until they have a date. In the meantime, they'll do a little bit of this and a little bit of that on preparedness, but nothing of any real consequence, such as moving their home to the known safe area, the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks. That's their plan. It's not much of a plan. To establish a hobby farm and have it producing enough food to feed a family, you're looking at a minimum of 3 years. And that's quite optimistic, really. It really is quite optimistic to have a hobby farm producing the food that a family needs in 3 years. And there is, by the way, a hobby farm in my neighborhood right down the road from me. in my zip code, the only one in my zip code for sale I'm aware of, that's set up and ready to go. The owners are friends of mine, a commercial and residential contractor. He's done a great job making this place beautiful for him and his wife. They decided to move to be closer to their children, so the place is up for sale. We've had several people look at it, but nobody has signed a contract yet, so it's still available. I will be speaking in Orlando Saturday, the 8th day of February. There are details at my website, myself and Steve Ben Noon. It'll be a great morning, and I look forward to seeing a lot of you there. It's the day before the cruise leaves, and it'll be a lot of fun. I hope that a lot of you can make it down there. We got a bottom of the hour break coming up here momentarily, and Tom Berryhill will be joining us. We'll talk about our favorite product, the energy cleaner. Stay tuned.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday. It is Thursday, the 12th day of December. It will be 2020 in less than 2 weeks. How about that? This is the 24 minutes I look forward to every week when we talk about my favorite product, hopefully your favorite product also, the energy cleaner. We begin our conversations with my friend Tom Berryhill, the manufacturer of the energy cleaner, giving us our disclaimer. Good morning, Tom.
Morning, John. We are not doctors or medical professionals. We don't diagnose, treat, or cure any illness or disease. The information discussed today is for your education and entertainment only. If you have a medical condition requiring treatment, you should utilize the services of a medical doctor, chiropractor, or other competent practitioner.
Well, thank you, sir. Well, Tom, I'll be taking my energy cleaner on the John Moore Patriot Symposium cruise, and I know Leon Green will be bringing his, and I suspect that quite a few of our participants in the John Moore Patriot Symposium cruise will bring their energy cleaners with them. Don't you believe that also?
I think so, and lots of people travel this time of year, John, and it'd be a wise thing to take that along with you. It makes the trip go a lot easier. Once you get to your destination, you can use it wherever you are. It's very portable.
Well, I haven't been on the ocean since I went on a deep-sea fishing trip. That would have been, 40 years ago. I turned green with seasickness. Relatively small boat. I don't know how big this thing was, maybe 40 or 50 feet. But I spent the entire time below decks and turning green, basically. I don't believe it's going to be the case on the biggest cruise ship that they make, though. I doubt you'll be very much sensational of even having movement with the size of this thing. But the energy cleaner will help. It'll help me sleep great every night, like it does normally when I'm on solid land, and I'll wake up refreshed and ready to meet the challenges of the day and meet and greet our participants in the John Moore Patriot Symposium cruise. Tom, I just shipped another energy cleaner and a pad yesterday to a gentleman, one of our listeners, a new listener, and we have new listeners every week. I just finished my third or fourth guest appearance with Doug Hagman on Doug's show. Every Monday I do a 1 hour with Doug, and Doug has a massive audience, so I'm drawing a lot of new people because of my guest appearances with Doug Hagman. So right now, on Thursday, the 12th day of December, Tom, there's people who never heard the energy cleaner, don't know who Tom Berryhill is, don't have a clue what we're talking about. So we'll just start from the beginning, and ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to all this, at my website, at thelibertyman.com, there's a drop-down menu under products. Just pull the drop-down menu and go to the energy cleaner. There's patent application information, details on the energy cleaner itself, testimonials from people we know and love and trust, like Steve Whitman, and of course you can place your order there for energy cleaners and mattress pads. The energy cleaner is an electronic healing device. That's what I write on the paperwork when I ship these overseas, the declarations. And it puts out a healing electronic signal. It's not a Rife machine, frequency generator. It's not a TENS unit. That's the two things people confuse it with the most, don't they, Tom?
Happens all the time, and
yep.
It's a simple device. It's electrostatic energy.
That's right. Well, that electrostatic energy has just the right signal to go to every cell in your body, and there's billions of cells in your body, flushing out toxins, bringing in fresh nutrition. That's what it does. That's how it works. It may sound simple, but it's a level of technology that very few people, especially medical doctors, don't comprehend or understand. Bottom line is it works. We focus on two things publicly. That would be pain mitigation. It could be arthritis pain. Everybody with arthritis pain, it gets relief. Most get complete relief. Everybody gets some relief. And getting a great night's sleep. Another issue that many Americans have is getting a great night's sleep. And we had different inquiries about, will it help with this, will it help with that? My pat answer is, I don't know if I don't know. But I do know if there's pain related to this issue, if there's sleep issues related to this matter, then yes, it will most likely help. And regardless of what your health issue may be, if you get better quality sleep, you're going to get better quality healing, won't you, Tom?
That's true, John. We heal when we sleep, and it's good for your whole body to get that energy signal, and it's just amazing what it will do, and people need to give it a try. And many other health issues can be taken care of as well, but you know how it is, John. We can't talk about a lot of these things in this country. It's a shame, but we just can't. But there's been all types of, some people have called it a miracle what this energy cleaner has done in their life. So people can read between the lines and figure it out.
Well, they can. They can. And the listeners to the John Moore radio show are people that actually possess and read books, which most Americans don't. According to the American Library Association, Tom, 3% of the adults in this country have a library card. Half of them use it for light entertainment reading. That leaves 1.5% that actually read books of any consequence. And that's the listeners of the John Moore radio show. So we have an educated audience, a literate audience, and they understand things. They can comprehend things that most Americans can't understand and can't comprehend. That's why you and I, Tom, have been so successful with the energy cleaner on my radio show, because of the level of competence, the level of literacy of the listeners to the John Moore radio show. And I do encourage doubting Thomases. I really do. And to help the doubting Thomases get past their doubts, I offer from me to the buyer of the energy cleaners personally a 90-day money-back guarantee. something that very few healthcare professionals will do. There's one in Chicago. There's a medical doctor in Chicago who prescribes energy cleaners for his patients. He says, buy Moore's energy cleaner. If it doesn't work, I'll buy it back from you. So the doctor has his own money-back guarantee. That's highly unusual, isn't it, Tom?
Very unusual. It really is. And I do know of a couple of cases where the medical doctor, actually prescribed an energy cleaner. And in one of the cases, it was actually verified to me that the insurance company paid for it. The other one said they were going to. I'd never got any information back, but we do know in one case they actually paid for that energy cleaner, and that person was delighted with the outcome. They no more pain, and they got their life back. They were able to get on with life and enjoy it.
Absolutely, and typically when people get their life back, we don't hear back from them. The wife of a friend of mine, she had debilitating issues for years. Could only work maybe 2 or 3 hours a day in the family business. And I talked to her and I said, you need to try the energy cleaner. At first, the detox was too much. Within a week, I had to have her remove 6 of the 9 batteries to slow down the signal. So she did that for 30 days, put in 3 more batteries in 30 days, and in the last 3 batteries 30 days after that. And the change in her is miraculous. She smiles all the time now. She's happy. She's at work all day long and doing the things that she loves to do with friends and family. And she's just a happy camper, Tom, and we've seen this so many hundreds of times, haven't we?
Yes, we have. And, John, this woman, was she on any kind of pain medication? And if so, was she able to cut back or totally eliminate it?
I don't know the details of that. Most likely she was, but I don't know the details. I've never really made an inquiry. I was happy to see her get recovered and get her life back. But that's typically what we see is people. And Tim Spencer is a good example of that. He had spent his entire adult life from about age 22 or 24 taking every 30 days a different prescription painkiller, because they wanted to avoid him getting addicted to any one. Until he started using the energy cleaner, very powerful pain meds. And incrementally he started cutting back on the dosage until in less than a year he was taking no pain meds at all and got his life back. He was back riding his ponies, climbing radio towers, using the chainsaw, all the things an active, healthy man does, all as a direct consequence of using the energy cleaner. He even managed to get himself off the diet soda, Tom, which that was a bigger challenge than anything, I think.
You know, that aspartame, John, is so poisonous. I don't think people realize how bad it is. And I've seen so many people addicted to that. I mean, it really is addictive, and they just don't want to give it up. So if Tim did that, that was really a plus in his life.
I recall the first time I drank a diet soda. I think it was Tab, that disgusting soda that came out in the 1960s. TAB, Tango Alpha Bravo Tab. I drank one of those. That was the only one I ever drank. That stuff was wretched. But the aspartame is the sweetener, the artificial sweetener. And what we like to tell people is the energy cleaner is not a silver bullet. If you think you can continue consuming the wrong things, such as diet sodas, excessive amounts of alcohol, have a tobacco product habit, and be healthy because of the energy cleaner, well, you're fooling yourself, aren't you, Tom?
Well, you really are. And so many of these products accumulate in your body, not only the addiction, but then the byproducts. Your body has to process all this. It clogs up your liver, kidneys, and that's where the energy cleaner really helps. And that's why I was asking earlier about the woman. It was your friend that got a machine and it helped her. If anybody that is on pain medications, if they will use the energy cleaner along with that, with their advice of their and help from their physician, they may find out that they can cut back dramatically on the amount. That'll save them money cost of the medication, but it also saves a lot of wear and tear in their body because they have to process, your liver and kidneys has to process all the leftover sludge and just what's left over from taking those medications. It has to get rid of it. So anytime you can cut down or eliminate it, that's really pushing you in a positive direction.
That's right. That's right. Well, our job is to let people know the energy cleaner exists. It's not common knowledge, and educate them to find out where they can further their knowledge, which is at my website at thelibertyman.com, and then encourage them to not procrastinate. Procrastination is expected. Procrastination is normal. Even Tim Spencer, I gave him the energy cleaner, a mattress pad. It was still 2 weeks before he started using it, which he regrets to this day, the 2 weeks of lost productivity and things he could have been doing because he procrastinated. So I expect that, and I'm so happy when people finally wake up one day and say, I think I'm going to go ahead and get one of John Moore's energy cleaners. And so they get it, they get the batteries, they get it set up on their bed, and within a few days they regret having procrastinated. That's what we see pretty much all the time, don't we, Tom?
Yeah, we really do. Happens often and has been for nearly 20 years now that we've been making these. People just hold off, the procrastinators, and if they just take advantage of your money-back guarantee, order the energy cleaner, try it out. I think they'd be amazed.
Well, we still have time. Many energy cleaner owners are listening right now. They may be pondering what gift to get for a sibling, adult child, parents. What a great gift for somebody that is not getting a great night's sleep, for somebody that has pain issues, which between those two things, we're talking more than half the American population, aren't we, Tom?
We really are. And John, I see it every day. You're out in public, just look around. We have just a tidal wave of baby boomers now coming onto the scene, and they're getting in their advanced years. And arthritis, pain is just everywhere, and I see these people hobbling around. You go to any store, and some of them are riding around in those carts. They can't even walk anymore from the pain or whatever. And this energy cleaner system could help them so much if they just gave it a try. So many of them don't know about it. I'm reluctant to approach anybody myself anymore. I used to early on, but I used to hear the same thing, John, from almost all of them. I have a very good doctor, and most of them would say I have the best doctor and the best insurance that money can buy, and I don't need any help. And okay.
Don't disturb my reality with your facts. And,
that's right.
So thank you very much. Don't disturb my reality. I'm satisfied with being barely able to walk, and my wonderful doctor is doing everything that he or she can do for me. Thank you very much. I'm going to get on over to the fruits and vegetables section. Leave me alone. But that's okay. That's okay. I got a bit of a frog in my throat. I'm sorry. The energy cleaner is available for sale at my website, ladies and gentlemen, at thelibertyman.com. I have a toll-free order line. You can place your order for the energy cleaner, mattress pad to go with it. We have twin size, full, queen, king, California king, the handy travel size. The toll-free order line, 24 hours a day. Don't try to call me. You will not get me. Toll-free order line is 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. And everything's in stock. I got a double order from my mattress pad supplier, and I've got energy cleaners. Everything's in stock, ready for immediate shipment. And if you want to get that great Christmas gift for that special person so they can get their life back just like you did, well, place your order. And I'm the guy that boxes them up. This is my home business. You place your order. I'm the guy that takes your order, boxes them up, takes them to the Little Country Post Office in Cherryville, Missouri, where tomorrow evening they have an all-you-can-eat catfish buffet with side dishes for $8. And it's a little country store. All the coffee you can drink all day long for 75 cents. It was 50 cents until about a year ago, but they had to raise their price to 75 cents for all the coffee you can drink. And these farmers and ranchers come in and they sit around the round table and they solve the problems of the world, Tom, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Every one of these small towns has a hangout for those guys. Got one
round
here
table.
as well.
Most of these country cafes all have a round table where the men come in, no women. Well, they do have women in Ontario, but usually it's just men. Here's our break. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back here. More here on Thursday, the 12th of December. Well, Tom, this is the time of year people start getting those beautiful full-color catalogs from the seed companies for ornamentals and edibles, fruits and vegetables and flowers. And the people who do this and enter competitions for the biggest tomato or the most beautiful rose, one of their secrets is using the energy cleaner, isn't it?
Well, I do know in several cases that's true, especially one gentleman with the flowers. But, John, if anybody is interested in any type of agricultural uses, the energy cleaner will greatly increase their crop. The output volume will be increased. You can use it in a greenhouse over your garden area by simply suspending some chicken wire over the plant area. Use some of the electric fence insulators or the plastic electric fence post. Those are the simplest, and then you can connect the energy cleaner to that chicken wire grid, suspended over the plants. Get it as close as possible. You have to raise it as they grow because they'll get wrapped up in that chicken wire and make a mess. But you've got to keep an eye on it because the plants will grow a lot faster. In a greenhouse, we just use stainless steel welding wire and stretch out one strand of that wire down through the plant media and just loop it from bed to bed. Wherever or if the plants are grown in troughs, just stretch it right down through the middle and put the gravel in there, whatever they're using for the plant beds, and as the nutrients flow through there, it gets moist, and that makes it conductive, and that signal travels through there to every plant in that trough, and you can connect relatively large greenhouses to one machine. I don't know in theory how many you could connect, but I do know in one case they're doing 1,000 square feet on one energy cleaner. So it's quite possible to get the job done with one machine, and they have really good success with it. I'm considering some of this myself, John. I've thought about doing hydroponic tomatoes because this time of year, a lot of the restaurants will buy them. If you have a good species of tomato, the restaurants want these. They need a supply in the winter.
They do. Well, if you do that, Tom, we'll get some photographs and get them posted on my website. That would be wonderful.
Oh, yeah. I'm in the process of building that greenhouse. I made the framework a couple of years ago, and it's kind of been on standby, and all aluminum frame, and I have to finish welding up all of that and then install it. Won't be huge, about 8 by 16 feet, but that's big enough for what I want to do, and then it'll also supply some of my needs.
Well, that would be great. And I want to encourage you to do that, Tom, because that would be good for you and good for the whole community up there. Well, the energy cleaner will help. That's the bottom line. If you have pain issues, if you're not sleeping like a small child every night like I do, you need an energy cleaner, pure and simple. And once you get it, you'll regret not having gotten it sooner. You may have been listening to me and Tom for weeks or months, maybe even years, thinking about it, pondering it, and finally making that decision, as so many hundreds of people have done, and then regretting you didn't do it sooner. Tom, we'll have you tomorrow morning with Emergency Communications.
Thank you, John.
Okay, see you in the morning. Top of the hour break. We'll be back with the John Moore Radio Show. Economic Advisor, Steve. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 12th day of December. The prep tip of the day, we'll expand on this. I overlooked the fact that Steve Hunt's having, well, he's not available today. Let's just let it go at that. Steve's not available today. But the prep tip of the day is to incorporate into your daily walks, your hikes, a backpack with 20 pounds of weight on it. And let's expand on that a little bit. Walking, just plain old walking. You don't have to get real exotic about your workouts. I mean, you can, obviously. I start my day with stretching. Then I go into 300 crunches and 100 push-ups. And if I'm not in too much of a hurry, I'll do more stretching. The stretching is just as important as any part of the workout. And most non-athletes are not aware of that. And if an athlete forgets to do it, they usually regret that. So your daily walk, my daily walk is about a mile. Walking out my back door to the top of the hill is equivalent to going to the top of a 10-story building, very steep incline. And I'll be doing this myself, incorporating wearing a backpack starting out with 20 pounds of weight. Now, what's 20 pounds of weight? That's not a lot. That's less than 3 gallons of water. 3 gallons of water is 24 pounds. So not a whole lot of weight. Your backpack should be well designed with a frame, and a well-designed backpack will transfer the weight to your hips, and as opposed to holding the weight on your shoulders. That's what a well-designed, well-engineered backpack will do. And just start doing it. Just start making that walk. Now, obviously, if it's cold, you need to dress for the temperature. I like to wear layers so that if I start getting warmed up, I can remove a layer or unzip a jacket, whatever it might be, to maintain a proper, comfortable body temperature. And just incorporate wearing that backpack every time I walk so that I'll get in better condition more quickly. And that's the whole goal, isn't it, is to get in better condition. And people like to do that, myself included, as quickly as possible. It's just, that's the way people are, and that's there's nothing wrong with that. Now, you may or may not have hills to walk up and down. If you do, make use of them. If you don't, then just walk a little more. And, sometimes when you're driving around your neighborhood, for example, a small incline may not be very noticeable in an automobile, but a small incline is a lot more noticeable when you're walking, a lot more noticeable than it would be driving an automobile. So do that. Just get out and walk at least 3 days a week. A mile would be a good baseline to start at, and you can make that a longer walk as you feel like the need to. Make it a tougher walk by adding more weight to your backpack. Having good quality foot gear is not optional. Anytime, well, all the time, as far as that goes. Good quality foot gear. I wear cowboy boots most of the time with leather soles. All my dress shoes for decades, for 40 years plus, 50 years, have always had leather soles. I initially started buying them just because I liked them, but I found out in the last 16, 17 years, there's another benefit to having foot gear with leather soles, and that's the fact that we are all electrical beings, and as such, we're grounded when we wear foot gear with leather soles, shoes and boots. Now, my wife, Dr. Moore, she understood this, and she had difficulty finding women's shoes and boots with leather soles. She was able to do it, but it was not easy. Now, most men's dress shoes, the last time I looked, the good quality ones anyway, all had leather soles. Good quality cowboy boots all have leather soles. You can get cheap cowboy boots that have a rubber sole on them. Those are available for sale. My Tony Lama boots I bought in Texas when I was visiting down there to see my grandson play a football game. Of course they have leather soles. Obviously they do. So being grounded is a good thing. It helps your overall health. And what you're going to find once you start paying attention to your health is there's lots of little things that any one by itself, as a standalone matter, is not that big a deal. If you have overall good health and you're not grounded, you're probably not going to tell a whole lot of difference when you do become grounded. It'll be small, it'll be incremental. But all these things add up. One of the biggest things you can do to help your health, of course, is proper nutrition, something that most Americans really don't understand. Fresh fruits and vegetables, meat from a known source. When I say a known source, that you know for a fact it's never been all shot up with growth hormones and antibiotics. That would be a good way to go. Water. Water is so foundational and so very important. Very important. I have a number of friends that are paramedics and former paramedics, and routinely when they have an ambulance call and it's an older person, an older patient, one of the first things they do is the pinch test to see if the person's dehydrated. The pinch test is simply pinching the skin on the back of the hand and letting it go, and see if it goes flat immediately or if it takes a few seconds to go back flat. If it goes flat immediately, then the person is well hydrated. If it takes a while to go back flat and stays in that upright position, then the person needs water. They're dehydrated. So good, clean, pure drinking water is not optional. It does not mean that you would use water from that's been filtered to the point where nothing's left in it. That would not be good either. And I've seen people do that. They think they're drinking healthy water. Steam distillation removes everything, including the good minerals. There's other filtration systems. The Berkeys don't do that. Professor McCanny filters don't do that. But there are filtration systems. Reverse osmosis comes to mind. Reverse osmosis, you end up with pure water with nothing in it. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. One friend of mine, his children were raised, they're now teenagers, drinking nothing but distilled water. Thousands of dollars of dental work. And they think they're doing the right thing. They think that they can replace the minerals that are not in the water. Well, you can't. That can't be done. And they're really diligent about it, but and they mean well. But can't. And I don't know what other health issues these children may or may not have when they become adults, but I suspect there probably will be some. Getting back to foot gear. Good quality foot gear. Cowboy boots are not suitable for walking on pavement any distance. They're meant for riding horses, and they're perfect for that, to keep your heel from slipping through the stirrup and to protect the lower part of your legs from sticks and branches and thorns and all that stuff. That's why they're so high. They're perfect for that, but they're not great for walking on pavement more than maybe a couple hundred yards. I found out the hard way up in Seattle. So good quality foot gear if you're getting boots for recreation, for tactical use. I like Danner, D-A-N-N-E-R. That's Delta, Alpha, November, Echo, Romeo, Danner. I've got a pair of the Danner Fort Lewis Go Devil boots. They're insulated. They're so comfortable. A big part of foot comfort and health, of course, is something I frequently mention. You regular listeners know what I'm about to say. New listeners don't have a clue what's coming up. Merino wool socks. That's Mike, Echo, Romeo, India, November, Oscar. Merino. I've been wearing merino wool socks pretty much every day for, I guess, 16, 17 years, something like that. Prior to that, I would wear cotton socks in the summertime and maybe wool socks in the winter. So all summer long, my feet would be cold and clammy because the cotton socks get wet with sweat, and your feet are in them wet socks, and they're not comfortable. It's not healthy. I wear my merino wool socks all year long. It doesn't matter if it's minus 10 degrees or 110 degrees. I wear my merino wool socks. And my feet stay warm and dry in the summertime, comfortably warm and dry, and warm and dry in the wintertime. I've got my merino wool socks on right now. Everybody who's got them and tried them, they write me an email. They say, John, you're right. These things are so great. There's something special about merino wool. The fibers are much longer than regular wool, so they don't scratch or they itch. Hardly anybody reports merino wool socks being scratchy or itchy. There probably are some, I'm not aware of them. But for most people, most of the time, there's no scratchy or itchiness. And it may sound counterintuitive to be wearing wool socks when it's 110 degrees. Of course it sounds counterintuitive. Why would you do that? Well, you do it because it's more comfortable. Cotton socks in the summertime are absolutely miserable. Your feet get wet, and they stay wet. They stay cold and clammy instead of comfortably warm and dry, which is what my feet do in the summertime when it's 110 degrees. My feet stay warm and comfortably dry. So be sure you get the merino wool socks. Lots of places to get them. Amazon, Sportsman's Guide, REI, and so forth. The higher the content of merino wool, you probably won't find socks that are 100% merino wool. You might, but almost all of them are going to be a blend. When you're picking your foot gear, something else that would be helpful is a custom-made orthopedic insert. The best ones I'm aware of, I was at a seminar where these were being recommended, a chiropractic seminar. I was the only non-doctor there. They're made by Foot Levelers. They're a nationwide outfit. There's Foot Leveler stores, vendors all over the country. They fabricate a custom-made orthotics for your inserts for your shoes. Custom-made, and here's how they do it. You take your shoes and socks off at the facility, at the office. You stand on this glass plate, which has a computer connected to it, and the computer scans your feet. And your orthotic, your shoe insert, is custom built just for you, with all the bumps where there should be bumps and no bumps where there should be any bumps. And they're great. I use mine every day. And they're leather, by the way. So that's a good thing also. Shoes and boots have to fit properly. That's not optional. They must fit properly. I told a story a week or two ago about a friend who went on a hike with us, and he got maybe a mile, and he said, I can't go any further. He had boots he'd picked up at the Goodwill store, and they didn't fit quite properly, and he was finished. He was finished after only about a mile. He couldn't go any further. So make sure your shoes fit properly, that you take good care of them, that if you do get in the mud, that you get the mud cleaned out of the stitching and off the leather before it dries out, that the mud will just suck the oil out of the leather. That's not a good thing. You may have to replace that oil. So make sure those shoes and boots fit properly, that you keep them in good repair, cleaned and ready for use anytime you need them, and go from there. The rest of your outfit should just be appropriate for the climate, the season of the year. You don't, unless you got spandex breeches, ladies, you don't want really tight outfits. You want to be able to move about freely without any hindrance, and just keep a low profile. You don't want to be walking down your neighborhood for your neighborhood walk with your backpack looking like John Rambo. You just want to look like any other citizen. That's your goal. Is look like any other citizen, and not stand out from the crowd as some kind of tactical person. They're ready to engage the zombie apocalypse. And it has to be regular. Don't just do it 1 or 2 days and man, that hurts. I'm not going to do that anymore. Well, of course it's going to hurt. especially if you're going up and down hills and carrying some weight. Of course it's going to hurt. That's a given. But you need to get past that. You need to get past it and do it every day. If you can do it, after about 3 to 4 weeks, by the 4th week, if not sooner, you'll start noticing differences in your attitude, in your level of energy, and things of that nature. All of which go into this. All of which go into it. You might want to, if there's dogs in the area that might give you trouble, you might want to carry what's called in the city a dog stick, walking stick. That should not be an issue, hardly any place I can think of. When I flew to Prague a year and a half ago, actually it was 2.5 years ago now, I brought a collapsible cane. It would fit in my luggage. I was concerned about having a full-size cane going through the TSA, but it turned out it was not a problem because there were a lot of guys my age who had canes that went through the TSA security checkpoint. But a heavy wood cane is a formidable weapon in the hands of somebody who knows how to use it, whether it's dogs or animal predators. The cane can be a very powerful weapon in the hands of a person who knows it. I guess I should mention that the call number is 800-313-9443. I find walks invigorating, intellectually stimulating. I got time to think about things that I don't typically have time to think about because I can do that when I'm walking. And you'll find that you can also. And at first walk on your chosen route, it's going to seem like it takes forever. The second one will be a little bit less time involved. The third one a little bit less. You get to the point where you can walk the whole route relatively quickly. Here's our break.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge $20, $30, $40, $50, if possible, $100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
All right, we are back. Let's go. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 12th day of December. We have cabins available on the John Moore Patriot Symposium Cruise. Just had another couple reserve a cabin yesterday. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll get together every day and exchange information, get down to some real detailed, in-depth conversations every day on that ship. I'm really looking forward to it. What a great time to be away from the cold, the ice, the slop, and on a ship in the Caribbean. How wonderful is that? And, of course, it can be romantic if you choose to be. Valentine's Day would be right in the middle of it, so you might want to consider that also. Details at my website of the John Moore Patriot Symposium Cruise at thelibertyman.com. I have a toll-free line, not toll-free line, disregard. Betsy Murphy, our cruise director, her telephone number is 636-530-9502. I say again, 636-530-9502. Betsy would be glad to mail you a beautiful full-color brochure. All right. Staying in shape. Tom made some comments about the baby boomers, my generation, in public areas, and I concur. If you're in a public space, there's, say, the front entrance of Walmart, for example, your local supermarket, any place a lot of people come and go. You'll see that an awful lot of Americans, more than half of Americans, are not height-weight proportionate. They don't look happy. They don't have a gait that looks like a healthy, normal gait. It's a stilted gait because they're hurting. That's the way it is. That's an unfortunate reality, but it is the way it is. It doesn't have to be. If you find yourself in a situation where you're not height-weight proportionate, that you have some health issues, well, work on those things. Getting away from medical doctors and pharmaceutical products is going to be, and can be, and should be part of that. Really should. It's going to take some time. It took time to get where you are. It's going to take time to get where you want to be. If you're 60 years old, it took you 60 years to get to the health you've got right now. So don't expect to reverse it overnight by using alternative methods. It's going to take a while. Sometimes weeks, sometimes months, sometimes even years as far as that goes. But there's no time like now to get started. This time of year, people start making their New Year's resolutions. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. These New Year's resolutions frequently include health-related matters. Almost always. Almost always. I was telling a friend the other day I'm going to begin my workouts in January to prepare to run the 100-meter dash in competition in June, Memorial Day weekend. I was going to do it this year, but my obligation to take care of my wife came first, so I wasn't able to do that. And this year, I have the time to do it. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be doing light workouts at the beginning, doing more walking, and eventually, I probably won't start running until Probably April, just because of the weather and the inclement weather here. I may do a little running before that, but the real intense running won't begin until April. So I'll have April and May to be working on the sprints. And the 100-meter dash, I haven't ran it since I was 62 years old. I'm 72 now. I ran 15.7 seconds when I may have been 60. Last time I ran it in competition. Will I equal or beat that time? I don't know. I'm certainly going to give it a good shot. I'll be working out and getting in the best shape I can get to be able to do that. I understand myself, my persona. For me to really do any intense workouts, I have to have a specific goal in mind, and the competition is a goal. To be able to ready to be in competition is a goal that I look forward to meeting that challenge. It'll be a lot of fun. And if anybody wants to come and be my cheerleader on Memorial Day, that race will be in St. Louis. We'll get the details when we get closer to it, Memorial Day. I had some cheerleaders the last time my wife and a friend of my wife was there. It's always good to have a cheerleader. That does help the motivation. So that's my plan for 2020. I have lots of plans for 2020, but that's one of them. We're talking about health and health-related matters, getting in shape, staying in shape. As I've said a number of times on the show, if I continued my diet the way it was when I was 24, 25 years old, I'd either be dead or a 240-pound diabetic. That's where I'd be if I continued eating in that way. Thank goodness I woke up and smelled the coffee and stopped consuming the things I was consuming and started eating a healthier diet with fruits and vegetables, good quality meat, good quality water, and so forth. And getting the mercury amalgams out of my mouth was certainly a part of that. I believe a very important part. Here's our bottom of the hour break. Call number is 800-313-9443.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
All right, we are back. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 12th day of December. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. We had some engineering thing yesterday we were taking care of. The website was down for a few hours. Everything's back up and running normal to the best of my knowledge, including something that Doug Happing really likes. I found out Doug pretty much visits there just about every day. Open Source Intelligence. The daily intelligence briefing, right there on the right side of my homepage near the top. Gentleman I met on a homicide investigation I was conducting. He was a counterintelligence agent, among other things in his career. Very bright guy with a PhD. And he puts this together every day. And so it's updated pretty much 7 days a week. There's times when it doesn't happen. But pretty much 7 days a week, there's dozens of new articles under Daily Intelligence Briefing, Open Source Intelligence. And Open Source Intelligence is a term used within the intelligence community a lot to describe bits of intelligence that come from open sources such as radio, TV, newspapers, magazines, and things like that. And that's made great use of, and there's a lot of value to it. So you can check that out if you want to get up to speed on what's going on around the world, around the country. The Daily Intelligence Briefing is a great place to go. We talked for 24 minutes last hour about the energy cleaner. I don't need to repeat that. Just a quick reminder. The details in the energy cleaner are at my website at thelibertyman.com. for the energy cleaner, the mattress pad, and I have a toll-free line 24 hours a day, 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. I'll be speaking in Orlando, Florida, Saturday the 8th day of February. It's less than 2 months away. Get some details here. We'll be at the Embassy Suites Hotel at Altamont Springs, which is an Orlando suburb. The price for the tickets, it looks like it's not quite $28. It says just under $28. I'm not sure what that means. $27.59. I don't know how that odd number came up, but that's that's what the cost of the tickets are, is $27.59. And we go from 10 o'clock in the morning till 7 p.m. It'll be a full day. It'll be a really full day. That's 9 hours. I'm not sure how long I'll have there, but I'm the first speaker, and I'll be talking to Steve Ben-Noon. His wife Jana will also be speaking. I think she's speaking. She may not be. But I know Steve and I are definitely speaking, and it'll be a really good day. Going back to the topic of the day, physical fitness, it is not optional. It is not optional. If there is a short-term or long-term crisis, being physically fit may very well be a matter of life and death. Now, most of the time during either short-term or long-term crisis, you're going to be doing just routine things. But routine things that you're not used to doing, maybe cutting firewood, maybe carrying firewood, maybe carrying water, doing gardening if it's a long-term crisis. A lot of lifting and carrying and bending over and using muscles that haven't been used in years. You're going to be hurting. Of course, the energy cleaner will help, but you're going to be hurting. And the more and the better you get in shape right now, the less you'll be hurting at that future date. Of course, it'll be a benefit to you to get in shape anyway, even if there is no crisis. Of course, it would be. You'll feel better. You'll look better. You'll have more energy to do the things that you love, whatever those things might be. Golfing, bowling, fishing, hunting, boating, hiking, whatever it is. Whatever it is. You'll have more energy to do the things that you love. And it's all a win-win situation. It really is. Because as I've mentioned a number of times, we need healthy, strong Americans to help make America great again. One of the goals of the International Communist Conspiracy to weaken America is to adversely affect the health of Americans. I really do believe that. That's part of their agenda. Having healthy men and healthy women in this country makes us all stronger. We're at a point now where about 9 out of 10 American men and women of the correct age to join any branch of the military can't join any branch of the military because of physical issues that they've got. It's a pretty sad situation, and don't think of it just as a problem for our military. It's a problem for our entire society because that's our future. And they're fairly low standards, by the way. They're fairly low standards. They're not nearly as tough as they were when I went into the military in 1967. Not nearly as tough. If they were, we wouldn't have a military. We would be very in dire situation to attempt to have the same standards we had back then in terms of recruitment. So you'll benefit. You'll feel better. You'll look better. You'll have more energy as you start working out and getting in condition. It won't happen overnight. You'll start feeling results in 3 to 4 weeks. I recall in basic training was 8 weeks long. We had a bunch of guys from the Dakotas, North and South Dakota, National Guard guys in my outfit, in my basic training outfit. These were old guys. They were 24, 25, 26 years old. old guys. And my bunkmate was one of the old guys, and he was a good 50 pounds overweight, easily 50 pounds overweight, and the drill sergeants gave him special attention, and he didn't particularly want the special attention, but he couldn't keep up with what we were doing, so he was forced to keep up. When we'd be marching, he'd be running around us in circles, literally running around circles while we're marching down the road carrying his rifle. They had a derogatory term for these overweight men. They called them bolos. They couldn't call them anything else. The Army was already becoming politically correct at that point. But by the fourth week, he'd lost a bunch of weight. His wife visited him the fourth weekend that we were in basic training, and she hardly recognized him. He'd lost so much weight. This man sweat 6 days a week. We were off Sundays. But 6 days a week, he was sweating profusely. And he felt better and looked better than since he was a teenager. And it was tough for him. No doubt that it was tough. Now, for myself, 6 months before I started basic training, I was in the Missouri State Outdoor Track Meet as a senior in high school. The drill sergeants used me as a demonstrator to demonstrate any new physical activity because they knew I would do it, make it look easy for the rest of the guys, and I was glad to volunteer to do that. It was fun, and I was on the track team at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri when I was in basic training, so I had my track shoes lined up under my bunk with my combat boots, which was pretty unusual to say the least. So basic training, you'll hear stories about, horror stories typically from men about how tough physically basic training was. Well, for me, it was, the physical part of it was pretty much a joke. I could have easily done twice what I was required to do and still not been winded. But that's simply the way it was for me. Most guys did have a tough time with the physical part of it, and still do, I'm sure, even though the physical requirements aren't nearly as stringent as they were then. I understand that the physical requirements have been increased, and that's a good thing. We've been in continuous war for 19 years. We now have evidence and documents coming out about how much we screwed up in Afghanistan and probably continue to. I think we still have people there. The military trying to put a happy face where there was no happy face for the executive branch to observe. But we're finally getting our people out of there. Your physical conditioning needs to be a priority. It won't happen unless it's a priority. You need to want it for yourself, not because John Moore wants to see you healthy, or because President Trump wants to see you healthy. Of course, he wants to see all Americans be healthy. No, because you want to be healthy yourself. Setting goals and reaching goals, that's part of what this is. All the people who go with me on the John Moore Patriot Symposium cruise will get a copy of the book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. It's a great book. I've implemented those principles in my life. Those principles work. The principles of how to establish goals, focus on goals, get the clarity that you need to achieve goals, and then actually achieve them. Being in a physical condition can certainly become a goal, a very worthwhile goal for yourself, for the people that care about you, for the people you care about. If there's long-term or short-term crisis, you're going to be not getting the sleep you typically get. You may be sleeping in unfamiliar places, doing things that you're not used to doing. That's almost a given. Unless you're on a remote ranch someplace out west, you're probably going to be doing unfamiliar things. If you're in a remote ranch or a remote farm, here, even here in the Ozarks, most of what you'll be doing would be routine matters you do all the time anyway. Stress, of course it'd be stress. In a long-term crisis, you might be dealing with enhanced criminal activity, criminals seeking to take advantage of people's situation. As most of you know, I've sat across the interview table from probably several thousand men and women charged with every kind of crime you can imagine, from driving while intoxicated to murder. I've asked the question several times, not often, maybe 2 or 3 times, of a career criminal, not some guy who just messed up once, but career criminals. I'd ask the following question: what would you do if there was a major earthquake, flood, tornado, hurricane? And these men look me straight in the eye and they say, John, we look at it as economic opportunity. Didn't hesitate at all. Did not hesitate at all. We look at it as economic opportunity. Well, that economic opportunity may be your food supply. That opportunity may be your teenage daughter. What criminals want and how they get it, well, you need to be able to stop that. And that's going to mean use of arms, force of arms, obviously. And it's going to mean being in better physical condition. You can't hope to defend life and property very well if you're not in the best physical condition. You may be successful, but you're certainly reducing the chances. Why would you do that? Why would you reduce the chances? Now, we've got 11 months until the election, 2020. It may seem like a lot of time. It will fly by. It will fly by. Right now, if you want to be in good shape for what's coming, and we got men and women who I respect prognosticating about the possibility of civil war. I can't deny it. If I could, I would, but I can't deny it's going to happen. If there's civil unrest in this country, violent civil unrest, leading to civil war, social chaos, you really want to be in the best condition you can before that starts. You really do. Once it begins, once we're in the middle of it, you're not going to be focused on physical conditioning. You're going to be focused on protecting the lives of the people you care about, protecting innocent life, protecting property. That's where your priority is going to be. You're going to be prioritize on getting 3 meals a day, getting your hands on good, clean drinking water, not getting in the best physical condition you can. That's not going to be a priority anymore. Right now is when it needs to be a priority. The 12th day of December, 2019. That's when it needs to be a priority. Right now, you have what appears to be luxury time. That might be a complete illusion. We have what appears to be luxury time to start working on your individual physical fitness program. So do it. Just do it. Was that a Nike commercial back in the day? Just do it. No procrastination. No excuses. Oh, this, oh, that. Oh, I'm too busy. If you're too busy to have a 15-minute workout every day, you're too busy. You probably have some time to watch television or something of that nature. That's called discretionary time, time that you can do with anything you choose. I dropped my Netflix subscription. In fact, today is the last day. I haven't looked at it since June when my wife passed. And I just thought about this about 3 or 4 days ago. I thought, why am I paying this monthly fee for something I'm not even using? I now have a hobby. Instead of watching Netflix, I have a hobby. It's a half-century-old British sports car, my Triumph TR6. And there's a lot of things associated with that project, not just the car itself, but all the ancillary things such as acquisition of tools, organization of tools, and organization of the garage and so forth. All the ancillary things associated with working on and maintaining a half-century-old British sports car. So I don't need Netflix. I still have Amazon Prime, mainly because I get free shipping with Amazon. But that gives me access to 250,000 movies and TV shows. That's all I need. But I try to make the best use of my discretionary time. I might be hiking on the property here. I might be reading books. I'm a voracious reader. I might be working on the sports car. I might be working out. I do my workout every morning. That's going to be getting more intense as we get past the first of the year. Maybe going to church. Maybe having movie night here in Davisville. Lots of things I do with my discretionary time. The Republican Central Committee and so forth. What you do with yours is your choice. That's what we get to do as Americans. We get to choose. We get to choose what to do with discretionary time. And those decisions are yours to make and yours to live with. Our last break coming up here. We do have time for a call. If somebody wants to call in at 800-313-9443. If you have a goal of getting in better physical condition, give us a call and tell us what that goal is. That would be good. Maybe motivate some people to get busy. And I'm not saying it'd be easy. If you have a sedentary lifestyle, it's hard to change that. Here's our last break. We'll be right back.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday. It is Thursday, the 12th day of December. Physical conditioning, health are massive topics for most Americans most of the time. It is, and it should be. For the first time since records have been kept, we're now seeing the life expectancy of Americans drop. It's the experts appear to think that that's related to overdoses from opioids. It most likely is. We're losing more people every year than we did the 10 years of the Vietnam War. 10 years of the Vietnam War, we had 55,000 men and women die. We're losing about 60,000 plus every year from opioid overdoses. What a tragedy. What a tragedy. And it doesn't need to be this way. You should be able to sit in a public space, such as the entrance to Walmart, or in a public square, a bowling alley, airport, train station, and watch healthy, height-weight proportionate Americans walk past you with a pleasant disposition, a healthy gait, and just that's what you should be able to see, but you don't. You don't. Some of it is a consequence of lifestyle choices. Others are a consequence of ignorance. People think that if it's on a grocery shelf that it's okay and healthy to eat. The government will protect us. Food and Drug Administration will protect us. No, not at all. If I was king, I would outlaw diet sodas. I seriously would. That stuff's poison. In fact, I picked up a bag of aspartame the other day to use for getting rid of mice and rats around here. It makes good rat poison. How strange is that? The aspartame being used for rat poison. But they'll eat it up and they'll die. So that's fine. But your decisions, and life is basically two things: decisions and the consequences of those decisions. That's what life is. Decisions and the consequences of those decisions. So you can make a decision right now on the 12th day of December that by Election Day 2020, 11 months away, you're going to be in the best physical condition of your adult life. You can make that decision, and you can probably achieve that goal. For most of you, there'll be exceptions. I understand that. If you got a health condition that just simply can't be overcome, I understand that. But for most of you, it's an achievable goal to be in the best physical condition of your life between now and the first Tuesday in November 2020. About 11 months. Not quite 11 months. That should be doable. That should be very doable. So, if that becomes a goal, then figure out how to focus on that goal and achieve that goal. Get the clarity, get the focus you need. I may be selling those books. Murphy's book on my website. We'll see about that. That's it for today. Medical supplies, energy